Thank you, President Cohen and Mrs. President Cohen, distinguished guests and distinguished guests, you know who you are, honored faculty and creepy Spanish teachers. So, thank you to our graduating class of 2009. I realize most of you are hangover and have splitting headache and haven't slept since past Tuesday, but you can't graduate till I finish, so listen up. When I was asked to make the commencement speech, I immediately said yes. Then I went to look up what commencement meant, which would be easy if I had a dictionary, but most of the books in our house are purchased and they are all written in Australian. So I had to break the word down to find out the meaning. Commencement, common and cement, commencement. You commonly see cement on sidewalks. Sidewalks have cracks, and if you step on a crack, you break your mother's back. So there's that. But I'm honored that you've asked me here to speak at your commencement. I thought you had to be a famous alumni, you had to graduate from school, and I didn't go to college here. And as I don't know if President Cohen knows, I didn't go to college at all, any college. And I'm not saying you wasted your time or money, but look at me, I'm a huge celebrity. Although I did graduate from the school of Hard Knocks, our mascot was the Knockers. And I spent a lot of time here and growing up, and my mom worked at New Camp, and I would go there every time I need to steal something out of her purse. But why am I here today? Clearly not to hear, clearly not to steal. You are too far away and never get away with it. I'm here because of you. Because I can't think of a more tenacious, more courageous graduate class. I mean, look at you, all wearing your robes. Usually when you're wearing a robe at 10 in the morning, it means giving up. I'm here because I love New Orleans. I was born and raised here. I spent my formative years here. And like you, while I was living here, I only did the laundry 6 times. And when I was finished school, I was completely lost. When I finished school, I was completely lost. In my school, I'm in middle school, but I went ahead to finish high school anyway. I did really have an ambition. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I did everything from I checked oysters, I was a hostess, I was a bartender, I was a waitress, I painted houses, I sold vacuum cleaners. I had no idea, and I thought I finally settled on some jobs, and I would make enough money to pay my rent, maybe have some cables, maybe not. I didn't really have a plan, and my point is that by the time I was the age, I really thought I knew who I was. Like for example, when I was the age, I was dating men. So what I'm saying is, when you're older, most of you will be gay. Is anybody writing this stuff down? Parents? Anyway, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. The way I ended up on this path was from a very tragic event. I was maybe 19, and my girlfriend at the time was killed in a car accident. And I passed the accident, and I didn't know it was her. That I kept going, and then I found out shortly after that it was her. And I was living in basement apartment, and I had no money, I had no heat, no air, I had a mattress on the floor, and the apartment was infested with fleas, and I was soul searching I was like, why is she suddenly gone? And there are fleas here, and I don't understand. There must be a purpose, and wouldn't it be so convenient if we just could pick up the phone and call God and ask these questions? And I started writing, and what poured out of me was imaginary conversation with God, which was one-sided. And I finished writing it, and I looked at it and I said to myself, I hadn't even been doing stand-up ever. There was no club in the town, and I'm gonna do this on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. At the time, he was the king. And I said, I'm gonna be the first woman in the history of the show to be called over to sit down. And several years later, I was the first woman in the history of the show, and the only woman in the history of the show to sit down because of the phone conversation with God that I wrote. And I started this path of stand-up. It was successful and it was great, but it was hard because I was trying to please everybody. I had this secret that I thought I had this secret that I was keeping, that I was gay, and I thought if people found out, they wouldn't like me, they wouldn't laugh at me, and then my career turned into I got my own sitcom that was very successful, another level of success, and I thought, what if they find out I'm gay, then they'll never watch. This was a long time ago. This was when we just had white president. But anyway, this was back many years ago. And I finally decided that I was living in so much shame and so much fear, and that I couldn't live that way anymore. And I decided to come out and to make it creative, and my character would come out at the same time. It wasn't to make a political statement, it wasn't to do anything other than to free myself up from the heaviness that I was carrying around. And I just want to be honest. And I thought, what's the worst that can happen? I can lose my career. I did. I lost my career. And the show was canceled after 6 years without even telling me. I read it in the paper, and the phone didn't ring for 3 years. I had no offers. Nobody wanted to touch me at all. And yet I was getting letters from the kids that almost committed suicide but didn't because of what I did. And so I realized that I had a purpose. And it wasn't just about me, and it wasn't about celebrity. But I felt like I was being punished. It was a bad time. I was angry. I was sad. And then I was offered a talk show, and people that offered me the talk show tried to sell it, and most stations didn't want to pick it up, and most people didn't want to, and most stations didn't want to buy it because they thought nobody would watch me. And really, when I look back on it, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, it was so important for me to lose everything because I found out what the most important thing is, to be true to yourself. Ultimately, that's what's got me to this place. I don't live in fear. I'm free. I had a secret. I had no secret. And I know I'll always be okay because no matter what, I know who I am. So in conclusion, when I was younger, I thought the success was something different. I thought when I grow up I wanna be famous. I wanna be a star. I wanna be in movie. When I grow up, I wanna see the world drive nice cars. I wanna have groupies, to quote the Pussycat Dolls. How many people thought it was boobies, by the way? It's not, it's groupies. But my idea of success is different today. As you grow, you realize the definition of success changes. For many of you, today's success is being able to hold down 20 shots of tequila. For me, the most important thing in your life is to live with integrity. For me, the most important thing in your life is to live your life with integrity. And not to give in peer pressure to try to be something that you are not. To live your life as an honesty and compassionate person to contribute in some way. So, to conclude my conclusion, follow your passion, stay true to yourself, never follow someone else's path unless you are following, never follow someone else's path unless you are in the wood, unless you are in the wood, you are lost, you see the path, and by all means you should follow that. Don't give advice, it will come back and bite you, and they ask. Don't take anyone's advice. So my advice to you is to be true to yourself. Everything will be fine. And I know a lot of you are concerned about your future, but there's no need to worry. The economy is booming, the job market is wide open, the planet is just fine. It's gonna be great. You've already survived a hurricane. What else can happen to you? And as I mentioned before, some of the most devastating things that happen here will teach you the most. And now you know what the right question to ask for your first job interview, like, is it about suitable? So to conclude my conclusion that I've previously concluded in the commencement speech, I guess what I'm trying to say is that life is like one big Mardi Gras, but instead of showing your boobs, show people your brain. And if they like what they see, and you know, and you have more biz than you know what to do with, and you'll be drunk most of the time. So the Katrina class of 2009, I say congratulations, and if you don't remember saying I said today, remember this: you're gonna be okay. Dum, 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 just dance.